The Taiwan Strait is a tinderbox. Tensions between China and Taiwan are the highest they've been in decades. The risk of military conflict is a growing concern. Some analysts believe that 2027 is a critical year. They point to reports that Chinese President Xi Jinping has set a deadline for the People's Liberation Army. By 2027, the PLA should be capable of taking Taiwan by force. This deadline adds urgency to an already volatile situation. The situation is further complicated by domestic political changes in Taiwan. The election of President Lai Ching-te in 2024 has exacerbated tensions with Beijing. Lai's stance on Taiwan's status and his policies have been met with hostility from China. The US role in the region remains crucial. However, its policy of strategic ambiguity is a double-edged sword. While it aims to deter Chinese aggression, it also creates uncertainty. This uncertainty could lead to miscalculations by either side, escalating the risk of conflict. The international community is closely watching the developments in the Taiwan Strait. The potential for conflict has global ramifications. A peaceful resolution is in everyone's best interest. However, achieving that peace requires careful diplomacy, clear communication, and a willingness to understand the perspectives of all parties involved. President Lai Ching-te is a figure of suspicion in Beijing. His election in 2024 marked a shift in Taiwan's political landscape. China views Lai as a separatist due to his firm stance on Taiwan's autonomy. This perception is fueled by Lai's past statements and his policy initiatives. One of Lai's most significant moves was labeling China a hostile foreign force. This designation reflects the hardening stance of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party towards Beijing. Lai has also taken steps to counter Chinese influence within Taiwan. These actions have further strained cross-strait relations. China has responded to Lai's presidency with a show of force. Large-scale military exercises near Taiwan have become increasingly common. These drills are widely seen as a warning to Lai and a demonstration of China's resolve to prevent Taiwan's formal independence. The international community is divided on how to engage with Lai's government. Some countries are cautious, wary of provoking China. Others are more supportive, seeing Lai as a defender of democracy in the face of authoritarian pressure. Balancing these competing interests is a delicate diplomatic dance. China's military activities near Taiwan have intensified dramatically in recent years. These activities are no longer just symbolic gestures. They are increasingly sophisticated exercises designed to test Taiwan's defenses and wear down its military readiness. In 2024 alone, China conducted 3 large-scale military exercises in response to Lai Ching-te's policies. These exercises involved warships, fighter jets, and ballistic missile launches. The message was clear. China is prepared to use force to achieve its objectives in the Taiwan Strait. Beyond these large-scale exercises, China has also increased its daily military presence near Taiwan. Chinese military aircraft, including fighter jets and bombers, regularly intrude into Taiwan's air defense identification zone. These incursions are designed to probe Taiwan's responses and collect intelligence. The frequency and scale of these activities are unprecedented. They reflect China's growing military capabilities and its determination to deter any move towards Taiwan's independence. The international community is increasingly concerned about the potential for miscalculation and escalation. The United States plays a pivotal role in the Taiwan Strait. While the US acknowledges the One China policy, it also maintains a commitment to Taiwan's self-defense. This delicate balancing act is known as strategic ambiguity. The US provides Taiwan with military equipment and training. It also conducts naval patrols in the region to deter Chinese aggression. However, the US has not explicitly stated whether it would intervene militarily if China attacked Taiwan. This ambiguity is intended to deter both China and Taiwan from taking actions that could lead to war. However, strategic ambiguity also carries risks. China may misinterpret US intentions, believing that the US would not intervene in a conflict. This miscalculation could embolden China and increase the likelihood of conflict. The USS is facing increasing pressure to clarify its stance on Taiwan. Some argue for strategic clarity, believing that a clear commitment to defend Taiwan is the best way to deter China. Others argue that this would be counterproductive and could provoke China. The Biden administration faces a difficult choice with potentially global consequences. Section 5. Domestic politics. A house divided. Taiwan's domestic political landscape is complex and fragmented. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, favors maintaining Taiwan's de facto independence. Meanwhile, the opposition Kuomintang, or KMT, party advocates for closer ties with China under the One China framework. Currently, recall petitions against several KMT legislators are underway. These petitions, if successful, could shift the balance of power in Taiwan's legislature. The DPP might regain control and push for increased defense spending and military procurements from the United States. China is closely watching these developments. It seeks to exploit any divisions within Taiwan's political system. Beijing portrays the DPP as reckless and provocative, aiming to undermine international support for the party. The outcome of these domestic political battles will have significant implications for Taiwan's security. A united front is essential to deter Chinese aggression. However, achieving unity in such a polarized environment is a formidable challenge. Section 6. Economic realignment. Shifting sands. Taiwan's economy is deeply intertwined with China's. However, this relationship is undergoing a significant transformation. Taiwan is actively seeking to reduce its economic dependence on China and diversify its trade partnerships. In 2024, Taiwan's exports to China fell to their lowest levels in years. This decline is partly due to political tensions and China's efforts to pressure Taiwan economically. However, it also reflects Taiwan's deliberate strategy to reduce its reliance on the Chinese market. Simultaneously, Taiwan is strengthening economic ties with the United States and other like-minded partners. US investments in Taiwan, particularly in the semiconductor industry, have surged. This shift reflects the growing importance of Taiwan as a key player in the global technology supply chain. Taiwan's economic realignment carries both risks and opportunities. Reducing dependence on China comes at a cost, at least in the short term. However, diversification and closer ties with the United States and its allies offer Taiwan greater economic security and resilience in the long run. Section 7. The international stage. Shifting alliances. The Taiwan issue is no longer just a regional concern. It is a focal point of geopolitical competition and is reshaping alliances across the Indo-Pacific region. The Philippines, a US treaty ally, is deepening its military cooperation with countries in the region, including potential joint patrols in the Taiwan Strait. This move reflects growing concern about China's assertiveness and a desire to deter Chinese aggression. On the other hand, Somalia's recent ban on Taiwanese passport holders highlights the challenges Taiwan faces in the international arena. This decision, likely influenced by pressure from China, underscores Beijing's efforts to isolate Taiwan diplomatically. The evolving situation in the Taiwan Strait highlights the importance of international cooperation and the need for a coordinated response to China's actions. Taiwan's future will be shaped not only by its own policies, but also by the actions of major powers and regional actors. Section 8. Echoes of the past. A history of tension. The current tensions between Taiwan and China are not new. They are rooted in a long and complex history dating back to the Chinese Civil War. Following the communist victory in 1949, the defeated nationalist government fled to Taiwan. Since then, China has viewed Taiwan as a breakaway province that must be reunified with the mainland. Taiwan, on the other hand, has developed its own distinct identity and democratic system of government. The 1990s saw a period of relative stability, with both sides engaging in dialogue and economic cooperation. However, the election of President Chen Shui-bian in 2000 marked a turning point. Chen, a staunch advocate for Taiwan's independence, heightened tensions with Beijing. His presidency saw a significant increase in Chinese military activity near Taiwan, much like the situation today. The current standoff between China and Taiwan under President Lai Ching-te echoes this past period of tension. History suggests that China is willing to use a combination of military pressure, economic coercion, and diplomatic isolation to achieve its objectives. Section 9. The Taiwanese people caught in the crossfire. In the midst of these geopolitical maneuvers, it is important to remember the human dimension of the Taiwan issue. The Taiwanese people are caught in a geopolitical tug-of-war, their fate uncertain. Public opinion polls in Taiwan consistently show that a majority of the population favors maintaining the status quo. They do not want war, nor do they want to be forced to reunify with China under Beijing's terms. They seek peace and stability, but also the freedom to determine their own future. The escalating tensions are causing anxiety and uncertainty among the Taiwanese people. They are forced to confront the possibility of conflict and the potential consequences for their lives, their families, and their way of life. The international community must prioritize the well-being and aspirations of the Taiwanese people in any efforts to address the Taiwan issue. A peaceful resolution that respects the will of the Taiwanese people is the only acceptable outcome.